I am your host, Joey J. Ping, and today you're watching the RMR Podcast Network. We've got another great episode of the Morning Joint for you guys. We're going to be talking all things sports, cannabis, music. We've got a great episode planned for y'all to talk about, Indiana University beating Miami in the national championship last week. We had the NFL playoffs, the AFC championship, and the NFC championship. We saw the Warriors smack the Timberwolves yesterday by like 20, 30, 40 points, something like that. The trade deadline is around the corner. There's some exciting things going on in the world of women's sports, the WNBA, the unrivaled. I'm a big fan of covering what's going on in there. And of course, we've got some cannabis and music news for you guys. Today's episode brought to you guys by Catalyst Cannabis Lounge here in Hawthorne, California. We're going to start things off with the national championship, folks. We do these episodes every Monday. And last week we saw the national championship, I want to say on Tuesday, Indiana beating Miami University. Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 overall pick and the Heisman Trophy winner from this last year, went 16 for 27 and had this iconic run, like a designed play, a quarterback run, where he got hit, like a guy tried to tackle him, and he was able to kind of like power through the tackle and stretch to score. And it was at that moment that everybody lost their mind even more about Fernando Mendoza. Ultimately winning the game, having a phenomenal game. Indiana University going 16-0 on the season. You guys, how exciting is that, right? You got to think like a school that's historically known for basketball, one of the most prestigious basketball universities in the country. Historically, they are the worst college football program in NCAA history, and they just had a perfect season. And it's interesting because when you watch the press conferences, when you watch the interviews with their coach, Curt Cignetti, you listen to the interviews with the players, again, Fernando Mendoza, there's a real chip on their shoulder because a lot of these guys were not top tier recruits. They just weren't. They didn't have a team filled with the best high school football talent in the world or in the country. They just didn't. But they were able to outwork, out hustle, out discipline, outperform, outscore all these different teams for a 16-0 record this year. College football's champion, Indiana University, potential first-round draft pick, maybe a couple first-round picks. We don't know. But the reality is that the Raiders, you all know what's up. The Raiders got the first overall pick, and they are highly likely to pick up Mendoza with that first overall pick coming up here in April. Personally, I don't want that to happen. What kind of coach and GM and leadership puts a quarterback that's a rookie into the position to be absolutely gobbled up, destroyed, chomped up, chewed up, and spit out? Who in their right mind would put the number 1 overall quarterback on the Raiders when they have the worst offensive line? And I'll say this, in history, in my entire life history, this is the worst offensive line I've ever seen. The worst. Absolutely terrible. So I would not take Fernando Mendoza because you're going to get what, 3-year, 4-year rookie contract. He's going to get killed. The Raiders gave up the most sacks last year. Geno threw the most picks. Didn't have time to throw. Didn't have time to run. So to me, it don't make sense. But I do want to say it was incredibly exciting watching Miami's defense do work against Indiana. It was not the blowout that I thought it would be. They were running around those defensive ends, the linebackers. They were chasing down Mendoza and smacking people. And I like that, man. It was like old school Miami football. It was dope to watch. And it was one of the reasons why this will go down as one of the better college football national championships, period. Like that's just going to be a fact. 16-0 IU. Come on, Indiana, the Hoosiers. Crazy. Big congratulations to Indiana University. It's super cool to watch you guys get that opportunity and to watch you guys go from being the worst college football team in college football history to now a 16-0 season, perfect record on the season. Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner, 16 of 27 passing, 186 passing yards, 0 interceptions, 1 rushing touchdown. How did they win? They controlled the tempo, limiting explosive plays from Miami. That quarterback from Miami, Carson Beck, the kid graduated 2 years ago, doesn't even take classes at Miami, still had eligibility. He's like 24, maybe 26 years old. He's older than everybody else. And the kid wasn't even able to like have that scientific human advantage because he's older than these other kids. I mean, ultimately, it was like I said, it was a scheme, it was a system, and IU really came in and controlled the game in a lot of ways. Miami did make a late push. It was exciting to sit here and watch at the lounge, but ultimately, I think discipline, situational football, and having the Heisman Trophy winner will the team to success, I think that was huge. But I also have to do a huge shout out to the Indiana defense because they had to ball out. I mean, you're in the national championship for a reason. You've got great players and great teams on both sides. You've got to play defense. And ultimately, the winning score, 27, Indiana, Miami 21. Big shout out and congratulations to IU. Now, as we continue, it's still football season, folks. The NFL playoffs just ended, and now we got the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, I believe, is February 8th. It's taking place at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. It's going to be an exciting experience. For anybody traveling up to San Francisco, don't leave any valuables in your car. Oakland and San Francisco is BIP City, where people follow you around in a car and they break into your window and steal your shit, and you're just buckled up, trapped, watching your car get broken into. So shout out San Francisco, shout out Oakland. Love the two cities. OG Raider fan, you feel me? But y'all better be careful when you guys go up there to BIP City, you feel me? It's just a fact. It's just a fact. Now we're going to work our way backwards on this one because you guys, I know you guys are interested in the Super Bowl first. We just figured out who won the AFC Championship and who won the NFC Championship, so I know you guys are interested in just Super Bowl shit. And you know I don't really care. You all know what's up. We got the new artwork here in the lounge. Let me show y'all. We got the new artwork here in the lounge. Look at that. Y'all see what's up. Y'all see what's up with the Raiders. Come on, y'all see what's up. But it's not the Raiders in the Super Bowl. They haven't won a playoff game since 2002, 2003. You feel me? It's been 23 years. But now we got the Seahawks and the Patriots. Ask me who are my least favorite teams in the NFL? Ask me. I'll say the Seahawks number 1, and I'll say the Patriots number 2. Depending on who's asking me, I'll say the Broncos number 3. Because as a Raiders fan, we're supposed to hate the Broncos. The Chiefs, I don't like the Chiefs either, but they're so good historically, the last 10 years. I can't even hate. You just can't. Chargers, irrelevant. Broncos, they weren't good for a little bit. But right now, we're talking Seahawks, Patriots. Patriots. They were proven cheaters. Remember that, guys? Let's not forget. But now we got new head coach, Mike Vrabel, former Patriots player, had a great time with the Tennessee Titans, and now look, the Titans are ass again without Vrabel. Vrabel's back with the city and the team that he won Super Bowls with as a player, with Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Asante Samuel, Randy Moss. Drake May, second-year quarterback for the Patriots. Sam Darnold, first-year quarterback for the Seahawks. Just came over from Minnesota Vikings. You imagine being the Vikings and you let Darnold go because you believe in your first round pick, JJ McCarthy, so much. But now Sam Darnold's in the fucking Super Bowl. It's real, folks. It's real. Your GM, the free agent, the trading, the moves you make can make or break your team. The culture you have, the coaching, the system in place can make or break your season. I was up on the Raiders this year. We beat the Patriots. I think it was the first game of the season. And we beat them. Drake Mang and all of them. It was an exciting game, man. It was exciting. But then they went on an absolute tear. I think they went 13-3 this year. How crazy is that? How could you lose to the Raiders and then go 13-3 on the season, or even 14-3 on the season? It's insane. And then to have 3 incredible playoff games because your defense just decided to turn it on and be one of the stingiest groups in the league. I fucking hate the Patriots, and I hate the Seahawks. But they're both in the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold threw, I want to say, 12, 13 attempts yesterday to Jackson Smith-Njigba, and he had 10 catches for 153 yards and a tud. It was incredible watching that guy. It was incredible. You got to think. Let's go back to this. The Patriots, Drake May, bunch of young players, the Coach Vrabel's there, culture, Mike McDaniels, right, on the offensive coordinating, right? He was Brady's coordinator for a couple of those things, right? Like, okay, they've rebuilt. It took them less than 2 seasons. It's incredible. But when we think about the Seahawks, Pete Carroll 2 years ago, Geno Smith 2 years ago, DK Metcalf 2 years ago. What an entirely different team that looks like right now. Kenneth Walker III is looking like a fucking MVP running back. And running backs don't win the MVP anymore. Kenneth Walker III was killing it yesterday. Jackson Smith-Njigba crushing. Sam Darnold looking like a seasoned vet in the playoffs. It was a great game to watch. Rams, Seahawks, 31-27. Rams, Devontae Adams, bunch of really impressive catches. Jackson Smith-Njigba, impressive catches. Great throws, scrambling, big hits on the defense. It was a game. And Seattle had perfect weather. Seattle could not have been a better host for this game because the rest of the country is getting hit with snow. We'll touch on the Broncos and Patriots matchup. They had a snow and windy game. It was classic football. It wasn't a snow bowl, right? But for an AFC championship game, there was snow and there was wind and multiple field goals were missed. That's classic football right there, folks. Now, it's important. Let's break down these games. The Seahawks and the Rams. Now, I'm in LA, so we had a bunch of Rams fans here yesterday. The Rams are good. Devontae Adams, great wide receiver, was on the Raiders. Killed it. Was on the Jets briefly. Killed it with Green Bay for years with Aaron Rodgers. Devontae's now 0-5 in NFC championship games, and he still has not won a Super Bowl. Hasn't been to the Super Bowl. Now, as a fan of Devontae and as a Raiders fan who was excited to have Devontae on the team, I feel for the guy. Him being on the Raiders this year and last year, he probably would be retiring right about now just because he doesn't have the fight in him. If you were to, to deal with the Raiders and how discombobulated it's been for the last year or so. You imagine Devontae Adams being on the team with the Raiders and Geno Smith threw 17, 19 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 17, 19 interceptions with him. How much he'd be freaking out, right? But when we think about the Rams, Matt Stafford, arguably MVP, depending on who you ask, for sure the MVP. The defense of the Rams, fight, scratch, clawed, fought the whole way, aggressive. You had Cooper Kupp, former Ram, playing on the Seahawks. He went to Eastern Washington University. I know that Washington and the Seahawks, like the state of Washington and the high schools and the colleges there, they low-key feed players into the Seahawks, whether it be the practice teams or the starters. Like that's a real thing out there for sure. Like, it happens seemingly more often than in other states. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a Pete Carroll thing. I know he liked to bring guys from USC and again locally, right, to the Hawks. Nothing wrong with that. But Cooper Kupp was an Eastern Washington University graduate and became one of the best receivers in the NFL for a number of years. Won a Super Bowl with the Rams, and I want to say 2020 or 2021, whenever they won. And now he's going back to the Super Bowl. I want to say he even retired for a year. I want to say he retired for a year, like after he got cut by the Rams or whatever happened with that. I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. But like, I want to say he retired. And the fact that he was able to come back to the Seahawks and play a vital role, huge role. There was a fourth down, I want to say. Maybe it might have been third and whatever. It could have been fourth. Towards the end of the game, when the Rams gave the ball back and the Seahawks got to get a first to basically keep the clock moving. And Kupp runs, I could be wrong, runs like a deep in 6, 7, 8 yards, comes across, is right on that yellow line you guys see on TV, right, for the first down. He's right there. Catches the ball, gets hit, happens to like kind of reach, catch, / bobble it like all at once. Ends up they get the line judge, the official comes running in and calls it a first, just off the view, which for a former basketball official, we're supposed to be a little slower on the whistle. And now there's a lot of technology involved. And so to be patient gives you the opportunity to see something all the way through the play and then to go back to the review. And in the NFL, this was a challengeable moment. And we saw the Rams coach, Sean McVay, discussing with his team and like the coaches and whatever, like, are we going to challenge? Are we not going to challenge? And they didn't. And they didn't. And it's because it was automatically ruled a first down by that line judge. And in order for it to be overturned, the ruling on the field to be overturned, it has to be conclusive evidence. No questions. It's obvious. It's very clear in order to overturn a call. Now, the catch here is what happens if Sean McVay and the Rams challenge that play and they get it wrong. What happens is that they lose 2 timeouts. And with that, the amount of time that was left in the game, to lose 2 timeouts on a situation that required conclusive evidence to turn over the call, which was a first down by Cooper Kupp, they decided not to do it and to use those timeouts later. So I want to say they called a timeout because it was a first down, so they wanted to set up the defense properly. So he just called a timeout to get things together and to figure it out. 1 timeout left in the game after that for them. That Cooper Kupp catch, that play was so deflating for the people here, the fans, and also you could tell that that was basically the game and that the Seahawks would be going to the Super Bowl after that, which is crazy. As somebody who grew up in Seattle, Renton, Kent Ridge High School, Central Washington University graduate, used to live on 45th and 99 in that Shoreline, North Seattle area, you feel me? It's crazy to think that they're back in the Super Bowl for the third time in 15 years and the 4th time in 20 years. Or 25 years, 4 times in 25 years, because they were there when I was, I think, 2005, 2006, or 2004, 2005, one of those Sean Alexander, Matt Hasselbeck era crap. It's dope for Seattle. I'm happy for Seattle. And if there was going to be a team that were to win the Super Bowl that would get me a slightly more positive mindset or a positive shout-out energy, it's going to be Seattle, because that's where my friends are at, and I know that they're going to be excited and happy, and I'm happy for them. But as a Raiders fan, I don't want either team to win. I don't want the Seahawks to win, and I don't want the Patriots to win. But that's just blasphemy. So big shout out to the Seahawks. Big shout out to their entire team, man. It's an exciting time to be a Seahawks fan the last 25 years. That franchise and the ownership and the GM, very impressive work, you guys. Jealous of it as a Raiders, as a lifelong Raiders fan. Would be great to have that kind of stability and to get that for the Raiders to open up a new chapter and to write a new book that way. You know what I'm saying? Now let's flip flop. Broncos, Patriots. I mean, this last week, guys, we saw like last week, like on the last episode, there was some crazy, the Bills and the Broncos and the Patriots, some bunch of really great games in the AFC. And ultimately, we saw a showdown between the Patriots and the Broncos. Now, last week, Broncos matchup, they left that game with a pretty serious set of injuries. Broncos starting quarterback Bo Nix had a broken ankle. So the backup, Jarrett Stidham, I think that's how you say his name, came in and played. And I don't think, because football is 11 players on offense, 11 on defense, and then special teams and all these different things, right? It's the true team sport. There's 53 players on a roster, right? You can't blame it all on the quarterback, Jarrett Stidham, for losing the game. That's a fact. We can't. So many things have to come together, guys, for one play to go the way it's supposed to go. The linemen have to know what they're doing and step right and block this guy for a second and then block this guy and do all these things. Passing is one thing, run blocking is another. Football is not easy, and it requires strength. And those guys are huge. It's the biggest people and strongest and fastest people in any sport anywhere in the world, the NFL. There are faster, there are better jumpers, there are people that throw things farther and stronger guys. But these guys are crazy athletic. So we're talking about 6'6", 6'8", 300-pounders that dunk, catch, and run around and sprint, run people over, tackle people, smack people aggressively. And now all these rules make it harder to do all these things legally in the NFL. When I say legally, I mean without penalties. So lots of things have to go right in order for a play to go good, to be positive, to get yards. Jarrett Stidham did okay. Former Raider, did great. I thought somebody he's a respected backup in the NFL, and I thought he came in and did his job. The rest of the Broncos, definitely some areas of opportunity, both in free agency and just catches, drops, missed assignments, certain areas there. And I think it was crazy because we can put as much of the responsibility on the players because they're the ones playing the game. You can put some responsibility on the coaches. They're the ones putting the players in the positions and the schemes and the play calls and directing them. But when you have snow and wind in Foxborough, Massachusetts, like in that area, this time of year, very cold, very windy, snow. I was watching the broadcasts, and you could see people stand and face one direction and not be able to open their eyes because snow and wind just pelting them and hitting them in the face. And then they'd stand the other way, and it was like, it was bearable, right? I mean, obviously, these people in jackets with cameras and gloves on. So now you think football, the field, the actual ground, hardened snow. You're putting your hands in snow. You're getting up. You got snow on your arms. Maybe you got spandex on. Maybe you don't. Maybe the cold bothers you. Maybe it doesn't. But now you're a quarterback, and you're touching a ball with your hands. Hot, cold, hand in the pocket. Try to warm it up, right? Every time you put your hand in the pocket and it's wet, it gets the inside of your pocket wet. Now it's windy and cold up there. You put your hand in your pocket. Now it's wet and cold still. You try to move it around and find a place of warmth. Like, you're playing professional football. Drake May running around, throwing passes. Jared Stidham throwing passes, running around. The running backs getting handoffs. Like I said, a lot has to go right in order for all of that to happen at a high level. And I think those were very impressive performances by both quarterbacks. Ultimately, the Patriots won 10-7. There was multiple field goals missed, and it was quite exciting. It was very exciting. Now, you guys might have been following some of the head coaching carousel changes in the NFL. The biggest news recently, in my opinion, because there's a lot of these newer like the newer generation NFL coaches, folks. Like the Mike McDaniels and even Vrabel is a newer generation coach, right? But I think the two biggest pieces of news recently, in my opinion, well, we saw that Mike Tomlin from the Steelers stepped down. He's been there for a long time. Like, we're talking like 20, 25, 26 years, something like that, folks. It's very rare. The Steelers have had like 3 head coaches in like 50 years, whereas the Raiders have had 6 head coaches in, I think, in 5 years or 6 years, something like that. So you can just tell, like, that's a big deal, the fact that he stepped down. My understanding is that former Green Bay Packer head coach Mike McCarthy is now stepping in. So the Steelers got rid of Mike Tomlin did not. The Steelers did not get rid of Mike Tomlin. That's not what happened. Mike Tomlin resigned. He stepped down, and then the replacement is Mike McCarthy. McCarthy was very good for a number of years, and then average for a number of other years. Ultimately, being fired, I believe, by the Packers. The Giants hired former Ravens head coach John Harbaugh. Another situation where he was with the Ravens for a long time, you guys. He was with the Ravens for a long time and won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. And the way that the things have been this last season, and one could say the last few seasons, with the inability for the Ravens to win in the playoffs, they felt like a change could be made. It's so odd because you've got people that have been 1-1 for a long time. And then the ownership, who they're watching, I thought the ownership is about the dollars. And obviously in football, it's particularly about winning. Like, certain franchises, like if you're not going in the playoffs and then to the Super Bowl, it's entirely a disappointment. There are less of those teams in the league now that, like, the Tom Brady's are gone. We just saw the Chiefs miss the playoffs, right? Travis Kelce's career is not a little bit, but it's noticeably on the decline. And so it's just these teams that you expect to be in the playoffs every year. I'll call it a changing of the guard. You know what I'm saying? And to see these coaches, Mike Tomlin step down, John Harbaugh get fired, it's a very interesting chapter of the NFL. And it shows to me that I'm getting old. The childhood, those players are gone, those coaches are gone. My teenage and high school and college years, the players and coaches from those, they're gone. They're now, some of them are on TV talking now all the time and on podcasts all the time. Just the NFL is different. And I think we have to celebrate that and embrace that. And it's still rough as a Raiders fan. That's a fact. Teams are choosing between proven leadership, modern schematic thinkers, the coaches like Mike McDaniels, these coaches like a Ben Johnson, right? These schematic guys. You could look at Arizona's Jonathan Gannon, another schematic guy. It's just, there's a lot that goes into that, right? Now, I want to take a moment to shout out my host and sponsor for this episode. Big shout out to Catalyst Consumption Lounge. This is where I'm shooting right now. This lounge is open from 3 to 9 Thursday and Friday, 2 to 9 on Saturday, and 12 to 8 on Sundays. And we have yoga and other wellness events here from 11 to 12 on Sunday mornings. Big shout out to Catalyst. As we continue on this episode of The Morning Joint, brought to you guys by respectmyregion.com. The NBA, very interesting point in the season right now for the NBA, you guys. The reason I say that is because you have another changing of the guard situation. We've got these new players, these new teams, these individuals that are dominating or still dominating. Who are those people? Jokic on the Nuggets. Insane how great he is. Luka Doncic just busting out 30 regularly. I think he's averaging 32 still right now. Right? Cade Cunningham of the Pistons, killing it. Tyrese Maxey keeping it interesting on the Sixers. The entire team of OKC Thunder just being the top one or two team at any given moment in the NBA. The only other comparable team is the Nuggets, but they are the reigning champions. So let's just call it what it is with the OKC Thunder. They're the best. The Lakers, let's go back to Luka, LeBron, LBJ. I got some fresh LeBrons on right now. When LeBron's on the court, they're a top defense in the league. When he's not on the court, they're in the bottom 5 in terms of 3-point percentage. Like their defenders they shoot well against the Lakers when LeBron's not on the court. It's crazy. This is the time as the season where people start trading and making either desperate moves and shaking things up, hoping that the rest of the season either turns out the way they want it to go. You could tank further, get some draft picks. You could fix your salary cap situation and dump a player that's sucking up money and it's just not taking you the direction your team wants to go. Or you could stack a team. If you're kind of floundering in the middle, maybe you can move some of a couple pieces and a pick, and you can make a playoff run. You feel me? The trade deadline is February 5th. There will be moves. There always is a shakeup. There always is a shakeup. We already saw Trae Young get traded to the Wizards, folks. We got the Clippers making a run for the playoffs. They got a bunch of James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Lopez types. You feel me? A couple guys on there that deserve to be on other teams, maybe become a number 1 or 2 option instead of becoming a 4th or 5th option or a 3rd or 4th option. You know what I'm saying? But there's some certain groups out there that are really making a run. And we also have the All-Star Weekend coming up. Sitting here right now, we are less than 20 days away from NBA All-Star Weekend. There's 5 days left in this month, including today. And then we have 13 days until All-Star. That is 18 days until NBA All-Star Weekend here in Los Angeles, California. Inglewood! It's at the Clipper Stadium, Intuit Dome, the newest, most high-tech professional sports stadium in North America. You download an app, the Intuit Dome app, right? You load your facial recognition information stuff. You can attach your Apple Pay. And if you allow that Face ID part of it, you just walk right into the stadium on the right side of everything. Parking was easy. There's stuff around the neighborhoods. It's LA. It ain't cheap. It ain't supposed to be cheap. It's a professional sports game. Things around it, they tax. They know. It's enough people. I've been to 2 games this month. It's been an incredible experience. Been to 2 games this month. It's been awesome. Both times, really easy to get there. Walk right across there's like a jetway above the road, so you're safely crossing versus dealing with the road. Walk down the stairs. Huge outdoor basketball court. Huge, beautiful, like a pirate ship with a bunch of basketball backboards as like the sails. It's so dope. It's so dope. It's beautiful. Walk right in. Again, 2 lines, one with the real Face ID thing on the side through the app, and then the other people. I don't know what the other people have to deal with because I just decided just to do it. You walk past these. It looks like it's like a orb camera ball, and then like a thing here, and then it goes, and it kind of looks like a usual, it's like a stanchion, if you guys know what that is, and a camera's on top. And it scans your face as you're walking up, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7 of them as you're walking in on the right. And then there's these people there waiting with you waiting for you with these tablets, and your picture shows up on that tablet from those cameras you walk by, and they're like, Joseph, cool, you're good. And you just go right in and you don't got to show them nothing because you already got the ticket, you already got the app, you already did the facial, you already, so they see you. You know what I'm saying? It's like having a default picture that they see you. So you walk right in and then it's incredible. You go right up go look for your seats. One of the other cool elements of the Intuit Dome, folks, is it's the same camera technology, that Face ID, to go and get like food and stuff from like the concession. There were bars, there were snacks, there was humans running things, and there were also these marketplaces that had hot food, and it was organized in like chicken sandwiches, and there was deep dish pizza, there was an area for like cookies and taquitos and burgers and I think wings, and I want to say fries, and then there was like, the classic like picture like 7-Eleven meets like an airport little snack store, right, where it's like you got the little things with the snacks and the bags hanging off the little thing there, right, the little hook, and just classic things like that. Oh, and then they had these beverage coolers, right, alcohol, sparkling waters, St. James tea. It was great. Eat ice cream. They had these ice cream sandwiches that are fire. I think they're from San Francisco. I really have enjoyed my 2 trips to the Intuit Dome, and I know that the people out there that are going to be going to the NBA All-Star Weekend, I know it for you guys. I hope that if you get to go to the game, I hope you enjoy all these different features and aspects of it, because I sure did. It was super cool to load up with a bunch of food and stuff and be able to walk that, just have my, as much snacks and food as I could handle, basically. And then just like, oh yeah, look at the camera. Cool. Have a great night. That was crazy. Now we have here at the lounge a variety of All-Star Weekend events, folks. I'm excited to share a little bit of information about them. We have on February 12th, a pregame, an unofficial pregame Terp social sesh here, powered by Cannabiotics, from 4 to 8 p.m. The lounge is open from 3 to 9 on that Thursday. From 4 to 8, Cannabiotics will be here. There'll be some form of a tasting going on. Consider, you're gonna have to buy something next door at the dispensary in order to come to the tasting, unless something changes before now and then that I don't know about or that I find out about. But the reality is that event kicks off our official Catalyst All-Star Weekend here at the Catalyst Consumption Lounge. That weekend is brought to you guys officially by Respect My Region. I'm super proud to bring this idea to life. It is months and years in the making, and was inspired by a lot of the marketing that we have done over the years for different dispensaries, getting a good understanding of timing with the customers and products and brands, and also just building relationships. I'm super stoked to be able to put together this Catalyst All-Star Weekend showcase of events. We've got the Terp Social here that we always have every Thursday. That one fit in supernatural. On Friday, we'll have the Catalyst All-Star Brand Showcase. My goal is to have 5 brands here or their products here for people to buy what they buy next door and consider buying the dollar promo units in the store and coming over here and enjoying them before going over and potentially buying the product that they enjoyed. So we are trying to create this connectivity between the lounge, consumption habits, either increasing the quantity or the frequency and deep of people consuming. And not everybody needs to consume great amounts in order to increase the quantity of what they're consuming. There's a lot of small dose items, and it's getting people to maybe understand how to utilize it more consistently, for example. That could also lead to a better efficacy at the end of the day. It also could be different for everybody. We're not here to force or encourage anybody to do anything they don't want to do. The other opportunity with that is that it can decrease the duration of time it takes for somebody to consume through something. we obviously at the dispensary level, you've got ounces in these larger formats for sale. It might take somebody longer to smoke that. If you provide a community style event where they can bring that or come share it, or use the free bongs or whatever, then they might go through that product a little bit faster and decrease the time it takes to normally get them back in the store. So we're trying to create this connectivity between the events that we're curating and the consumers here. All-Star Weekend is a great opportunity for us because there's going to be hopefully an excess of 1 million more people or so because of the NBA and what that means, and all the journalists and the media and just all that stuff going on here. And we're excited about that. So any of the brands that sell to Catalyst, if you guys are in any of the Catalyst locations across California, please do reach out if you'd like to get involved with the Catalyst All-Star Showcase. You guys can send me a DM or reach out direct at 206-488-3838. That's my number direct. That'll be a fun one. 4 to 8 p.m. again, showcasing different brands. Already got one involved, so there will at least be one good brand showcase. On Saturday, we are bringing back the Joint Effort series. It's super dope. I was able to find some comedian groups online on Threads, and we partnered with this gentleman named Brennan. And Brennan has put together, over, I don't want to shortball it, but I want to say over 150 comedy shows, comedy events. This is someone who lives and breathes it. He's funny. He's got his own abilities as a host as well as a performative comedian. And so I'm super excited to have him host the event and to collaborate with him. And then that'll be from 6 to 8. Lounge will be open from 2 to 8, 2 to 9 on that Saturday. It's also Valentine's Day. And so it'll be a great opportunity for someone to come session, hang out, watch whatever sports are on, and then we'll have that comedy on at 6 to 8. We've got 4 comedians plus Brennan. I'm super pumped. I can't wait. It'll be smoky. The event is powered by Muha Meds. That's super exciting. And then last but not least, for All-Star Weekend, folks, again, 12, 13, 14, and 15, Sunday the 15th, we have a watch party in collaboration with another group that I met off of Threads. My new associate, Lucas, does fantastic work for a podcast and a show with 2 very well-known and respected NBA athletes. He does a lot of great work with that on this show with that team. And he also does watch party events across Los Angeles. And the watch parties that he puts together are for basketball. And I love basketball. It's basketball season. And we collaborated on this All-Star Weekend event, and which is a Sunday. The lounge is open from 12 to 8 on that Sunday. So we'll have the event going from 4 to 8 basically for the watch party. But we have that event, and then we're going to backtrack to actually this Thursday is going to be our first actual basketball watch party event. Respect My Region Times B-Ball Watch Club. Big shout out to Lucas again. Big shout out to Catalyst for hosting the space and allowing us to be creative and do what we do here and bring some community. We have an RSVP available, so shoot me a text at 206-488-3838 if you want to be involved, if you want to come through, you want to come check out the lounge, any of that kind of stuff. I'm definitely available to help y'all. We're looking for more people to collaborate with. We're very particular, specifically me, on what I'm trying to align Respect My Region with. And I'm a big believer that in basketball, football, baseball, food, we're by these universities here, we're by all these stadiums, like 5 to 10 minutes away. And so it's just, I want to do things that are normal for regular people. And then we just happen to be doing at a dispensary and lounge as this venue, and cannabis is available and allowed to be consumed. You don't have to, you're able to just to be here. It could be networking. It could be women's night. It could be college night, anything in those areas. That's what I'm trying to put together, who I'm looking to collaborate with. And that's why we're starting off with this B-Ball Watch Club. I'm super excited because I don't think I can pull this up right now, you guys. But the first watch club is this Thursday. We have USC versus Iowa women's college basketball. men's college basketball, UW versus Illinois. And then we've got on the NBA, we've got the OKC Thunder, again, the best team in the NBA today, versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that is a cool opportunity. The first two games, USC Iowa at 6, Washington Illinois at 6, and then the Thunder play at 6:30. The brand that we have is super dope for the sponsor, you guys. It's Claiborne. I can't wait to have Claiborne here. They got fire joints and these fire vapes and fire flower. And so I'm super excited to be introducing their brand to these NBA and college basketball fans, women's basketball, men's basketball, and the NBA. Those will be the three focuses. And then again, here right now, you can't really see it. You got one back there, but we actually have 3 100-inch TVs here and 5 60-inch TVs here. And then we have 2 32-inchers. Those are used for video games. We got free arcade games over here, NBA Jam, Pac-Man, Mortal Kombat, and there's 1,000 arcade games back there in the corner as part of that Alien Labs custom one that we have. Got a PS5 in the corner, a PS3 in the corner in the back there by that Catalyst sign. Those have 2K, NCAA, football, and Call of Duty. So it's like, it's not a bad situation in terms of like coming here for a watch party event and really getting to just hang out and consume your product and enjoy what's going on. Now, last night we were watching the football games, but additionally to that football games and everything we talked about above, I just want to shout out the Warriors absolutely destroying the Timberwolves last night. It sucks. There's a lot of terrible things going on in Minnesota right now because of ICE and the administration, and I'll keep my thoughts to myself in those areas. But ultimately, one more terrible thing happened, and that was the Warriors beating the Timberwolves last night, 111-85. Warriors forced 26 turnovers, 20 steals, disrupted Minnesota's offense from the opening quarter. Curry finished with 26 points and 7 assists. Moses Moody added 19 points and 8 rebounds. Anthony Edwards scored 32, but it was basically him running around in circles while not much else was happening from anybody else. So one of the key talking points that I wanted to touch on is, are the Warriors a viable playoff team? They're right now, they're not bad defensively. They're having some issues still with Jimmy Butler. Curry still performing. We're having overall point, I'd say, in production down from Curry, but some of his other pieces seemingly stepping up in a variety of ways and at different times, although Kuminga is currently injured. So we just want to see what your guys' thoughts are. What's the record the Warriors going to get? Are they going to have a big trade move? Do we see them move a piece? Do we see them shake it up in a big way? I don't know. It's crazy. Again, All-Star Weekend coming up here, 18 days. I want to remind you guys that the format is really interesting. It's like this world format where you have these two pro NBA all-star teams against the world players from other countries and 2 different international teams, and they kind of play it tournament style. So they're trying a new format again. I encourage you guys to check it out. I'm going to be watching to check it out. Well, obviously we have the watch party. I'm excited to watch these shorter games. And to watch these guys kind of go at it a little bit harder. I'm hoping that they play defense. I'm hoping that it's as competitive as the NBA, like the Emirates Cup that happens in the early part of the season, but we shall see. Folks, we've got some really, we've got a great rest of the episode for you guys all today. Really appreciate you all for tapping in. Some of the bigger news that I want to cover as we continue on today's morning joint episode is in the cannabis space. So let me pull up that section for me right here because I have been talking about all of my sports stuff. And so all of my notes are not caught up as I was over here chatting with you guys. So in real time, current cannabis news, current regular world in the United States of America news, there's a huge storm hitting a ton of states in the country. Something like 40 states are impacted. It's crazy. My mom, Katy, Texas, she said it's like 30 degrees outside, but it feels like 10 degrees. We're talking North Houston. My other boy said it's cold down in South Houston, and he's closer to the water areas. It's very interesting. Somebody told me the other day, it's crazy how the United States can have so many different climates all at once. But now there's varying levels of severe cold going on. One thing that was really noticeable was that customers in New York and New Jersey stocked up on cannabis products alongside bread and milk ahead of this major winter storm. We saw this during COVID, the spikes in sales when people brace for weather. You obviously have consistent weather issues down in the South, the Carolinas, the hurricanes, the Georgia, the hurricanes, Florida, right? You get into Alabama, Mississippi, right? You get into Texas, the hurricanes, right? The Gulf, right? But in these cold states where it already gets cold, right? It already gets cold in New York, New Jersey, but now it's like a bigger storm. We actually saw real impact in the form of increased sales reporting. Some shops reporting double the foot traffic and inventory nearly selling out. Edibles, flower, vapes, and pre-rolls. Those are the big four categories. Flower, pre-rolls, vapes, edibles. Those are the big four. New York State also has 578 licensed adult use dispensaries with 245 in New York City alone. It's incredible. Big shout out to New York for making a move, folks. Big shout out to them for persevering. The sacrifices that are made allows somebody who's a patient like me in another state, patient like my mom, who needs the weed, travels, but not able to get a medical card in Texas, no dispensaries for her to go to in Houston, right? She would have to go buy weed illegally. It's terrible. So big shout out to the New York and the New Jersey for persevering. Big shout out to New York for 578 adult use licensed dispensaries. It's exciting. I don't think that necessarily means they're all open, but big shout out to that number. And it continues to grow. I'm super excited for that. A new report, folks, highlights that in states like California, the illegal cannabis market is still outpacing the legal one. I'm not going to trash the report. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. But I know a lot of people that buy weed from here, and they buy weed from their person still. I know a lot of people that still sell weed. None of them are ever asked. Who is being surveyed? Who are these people creating these reports? And who are they surveying? The illegal cannabis market is outpacing the legal one. Can I tell you that I have dispensaries texting me and emailing me all the time? I also go to different dispensaries and spend my money. And I don't have any of the old drug dealers that used to sell me weed hitting me up to try to sell me weed. I don't have any of the new people I meet consistently tapping in with me either. So how is it that there's still so much weed being sold illegally? I struggle not with the fact that I understand that there are still people buying weed from their homies or their family and still growing weed. I get that. I have homies that do it too, and I'm with it. I will always be for the home brewer, the home grower, the trapper. Sure, like everybody can do their thing. One of my two mentors, don't judge another man by how they make their money. So let them do their thing. I'm not here to judge the women. I'm not here to judge the men. Y'all go and get it. If y'all not hurting anybody, not selling fentanyl, not selling heroin, don't care. But to sit here and say that the legal market is under pressure from black market competition, I struggle with that. Because granted, I'm not the business dispensary owner. I'm not the accountant. I'm not on the floor. But there are multiple chains across California. Stizzy has 50 plus locations, Catalyst 35 plus locations, Off the Charts at least 10, Embark at least 10, other groups 3, 5, 10. Like who is trapping that much to compete with these dispensaries? 350 to 1,200 people a day are going through your local trapper? You're fucking with me. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. I struggle with that. I don't understand these reports. I don't understand where the surveys are happening. The validity of it, I'm sure, is there scientifically, because it's probably fairly easy to find people that would select boxes or vote or pick, and it could be opposite of what I'm saying. Because sitting here in a dispensary right now with sponsors that are point of sale companies and tons of episodes talking with people about this and that, and they sell more weed now than they did before. There might be people moving boxes, hundreds, like 100 pounds. But we're talking about a dispensary that sees 300 to 750 people a day. We're talking about dispensaries that see 50 to 150 people a day. I'll tell you what, when I was in college and I think about everybody I bought weed from in college, they definitely were not serving 50 people a day. No, there was no way. There's just no way. 100 people a day? Are you kidding me? Maybe in your network of trappers, right? But come on, man. These dispensaries regularly are seeing 50, 100, 200 if they're on the smaller side. We're talking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Holidays, 2,000, 3,000. Some of those big ones in Vegas, what the fuck do you think they're doing? You think they're worried about their local drug dealer and their competitors? No, they're seeing 1,000 people. You know what I'm saying? 500. Now, their business might be expensive, and we can go through the bells and whistles and compare as much as we want. But I'm just not buying the traditional market competing with dispensaries at the level that keeps being reported. I got faith in these dispensaries, and I got faith in regular customers shopping at regular places. I don't know anybody that's trying to go buy weed at legacy or dealers or trappers or whatever. I don't know anybody going out of the way to do that. And I'd like to think I talk to and know a lot of people, and it's crazy. But we will continue. Effective April 1st, 2026, Chicago bans intoxicating hemp-derived THC products. Guys, February is 5 days away. March is a month after that. That's 35. April 1st, another 30 days. We are 65 days away from April 1st, roughly. Give or take a day or two with the 31-30 on the months. Sales of certain hemp-derived THC products, including Delta-8 edibles and vapes. Supporters frame it as protecting children from improperly marketed products, while opponents say it could push customers to liquor stores or illegal markets and hurt small hemp businesses. There's two sides, if not more sides, to this story. Let's break down at least a couple of them. Improperly marketed products, been an issue in cannabis and hemp. It's been an issue. It's hard to enforce everything all the time. At least with the legal situation, this adult use situation, and like even with the hemp situation, you're supposed to have COAs. You're supposed to follow certain marketing compliance things. My understanding is that it's generally a bandwidth problem when it comes to the enforcement. Okay, it's my understanding. I'm not sitting here supporting it or defending it one way or the other. There's not enough people working to manage the enforcement of it. Therefore, lots of bad operators choosing to push the limit or just overall violate things. Just violate the law or whatever it is. Improperly marketed products falls into that. You guys have seen the edibles that, you've seen the articles go around on Facebook, or you've seen the videos or the news reports, right? That kind of propaganda it. Watch out. It's Halloween. Keep the edibles away from the kids. Watch out. Don't let your kids go, right? It's Christmas coming around again, right? Valentine's Day, keep the candy, right? Whatever. So it's so frustrating because it's like there are people that decided to make branded products where they infuse weed or mushrooms, psilocybin, or shit, other drugs too, into products like Oreo cookies, into products that look like Nutter Butters, the snacks, into gummies that look like Sour Patch Kids, into snacks that look like Cheetos or Hot Cheetos, Takis. This is a thing. Popular snacks are used and utilized in hemp and cannabis by trappers. It's been a thing. Runts, the strain, literally named after the popular candy, folks. Come on, right? Name a popular candy named lemon cherry gelato. But Runts is named after the big candy. You see my point? Skittles, named after the big candy. This is a thing. This is a thing. Okay. But now we think about improperly marketed products and how that's been attracted to kids. And it's because now you've got polar ice pop flavored vapes. You've got blue slushy this, blue icy that. You've got things named after Runts and Skittles, like I just said. And all of and things that are branded, like I said, improperly marketed, huge issue. So that's a part of it, is that actually does happen. Okay. But then you think about, what is the impact of just straight up banning something? Well, that problem will still persist, right? And now, instead of people having a safe option, a compliant option, and a well manufactured, premium, potentially maybe even craft, maybe from a small business or a family or a mother or a single dad, who knows, right? But now those products are all going to be banned, and those people that still want that, they still need that potentially, because people do need things like that, right? Their only option is going to be to do something illegal to get it. They're going to have to go to somewhere that's safe, not safe, to get something that they can't necessarily trust, because there's no longer a system in place being watched by trusted people that care about the community, that care about people, that have a person first mentality. The trappers will still do it. That's what sucks. Banning it doesn't solve the problem. Enforcing it solves the problem. Enforcement solves that problem. And no one's saying you got to go run around and fucking do whatever we're seeing on TV in terms of enforcement, right? No one's saying you got to go do that. There's different ways to there's different ways to do it. But the reality is that banning it altogether will definitely push people to go do things illegally, and it will continue to happen illegally. So the improperly marketed products will continue, which sucks. And the people that were doing it legally will now not be able to have a route to do it at all. So their customer base, those tax dollars, however big or little it might have been, no longer available because the Chicago City Council banning it. It's crazy. As we continue through our showcase, you guys might have remembered last year, RMR World Tour. We are continuing the world tour by highlighting different news in different areas. The last medical only cannabis dispensary in Connecticut is planning to relocate and eventually convert to a hybrid medical rec store after repeated local denials on adult use sales. Meanwhile, statewide medical patient numbers and revenues have dropped sharply in recent years, reflecting broader market shifts to this adult use. It's like, let's drag our feet and try to continue helping as many of our customers that we've been working in, and in this case, our patients, because it's medical, right? Like, let's really do it this way, because we got to stick around and stay there, but you have to make enough money to survive. So it's this balance, right? Where you're a business and you're trying to do business the right way to help the right people, to have impact, and specifically really like provide medicine to people. And then we think like, well, adult use legalizes and recreational use comes around, and just the numbers in medical drop sharp, right? The overall sales just dip once adult use pops up in the state. It's up to that dispensary to start having education focus. It's up to that group, the team, the staff, the culture, whoever it is. It's up to them to start to make sure that those talking points that from an education standpoint are still met. Oftentimes, though, it just becomes high THC and indica sativa hybrid, and people go about, making their money. But we encourage groups to not do that. One of the other key stories coming out of Minnesota, folks, Minnesota's adult use market continues to gain traction. Medical still leads, obviously. The main issue is that there's just not enough dispensaries opening up. There's just not enough brands with tons of product yet. We recently had a Minnesota dispensary on, and the conversation was all about, hey, like, we're getting new product, new growers, new brands coming online. all the time. We're taking samples, we're making things happen. But ultimately, the medical sales are still outpacing it. It's going to teeter totter at some point. Once we see an influx of brands start harvesting, and then the manufacturing will pick up, then beverages will pick up, and all these other things. But for now, it's quoted right now, at least out of the market. Experts expect steady growth in 26. They're also one of the states dealing with extreme weather. It's also a season for them where they already have extreme weather. And so that times what's going on in the regular world right now with the two people being killed recently. There's just a lot going on in Minnesota. And so, one, my heart goes out to everybody in Minnesota and just everybody across the United States and the world that is being impacted by what's going on here in the United States. And two, it is an exciting time for the Minnesota adult use cannabis market. And so we got to stay tuned on that, and we'll have more coverage there. Folks, as we continue, the last section I have for you today is all about music. I'm super excited about what's been going on in the world of music. Um, at the end of last year, right, you get your Spotify Wrapped, right? And you look at what was my top music that I listened to last year, and by far and away, it was Bad Bunny. And there were some other artists that popped in and onto my list, but it was very clear to me that I was going through a heavy Latin music phase. Now, granted, the partner that I had for all of last year is this fantastic Costa Rican woman, and so I found myself naturally just listening to her music more and discovering more artists. None of her artists made it onto my stuff. You feel me? That was her phone plugged in. But for me, it was artists like Bad Bunny, and Fade. And this particular one that we're going to kick it off with, Peso Pluma, recently announcing the Dynastia tour. It's him headlining arenas. So we are seeing not just Bad Bunny and Balvin and fucking Pitbull and these OG Mexican bands and singers. Peso Pluma, a true rapper, singer of this generation, also getting into the headlining size tours and being on that caliber. And I just got to say how exciting that is and how inspiring that is, because over the last few years, more accurately, we've just been seeing him collaborating with more people outside of the Latin music world. And it's not that those are some of my favorite ones, because I like classic Peso Pluma, like listening through some of his OG music and some of the hits. But it's dope to see those collaborations coming in and hearing music expand in that way. Being here in LA, we've gotten like Tyga and YG on some of these beats, and more recently Kendrick, right, with some heavy Mexican influence. But we really haven't seen those caliber of artists cross over into like a Peso Pluma or a Bad Bunny lane. And how cool would it be if artists that size got into that, right? Like it gives me chills thinking about the artwork and how the collaboration could really impact kids and also just music as a whole. So big shout out to Peso Pluma. Be sure to look up his arena tour and that information online. Harry Styles is back, dropped a new single, Aperture, this week. Big shout out to the announcement of his Together World Tour. That's going to be huge. Martin Garrix also announced a tour. I want to say 16-city tour across North and South America. Electronic music is people are trying to push that it's back. You feel me? And I don't really think that it went away. I think that we saw a generation of people grow out of certain things. We saw COVID have an impact on it, and just the size and scale of the impact of just the way the world has changed and what it's been through the last 6 years. I think it's we're just seeing things go full circle, but instead of it being a classic circle, it was like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Garrix has always been one of the strongest artists on stage, tours and performances and headliners. But this tour going across North and South America, I think it definitely is a signal that there is massive strength in Latin American music fans. South America, the size and scale of Brazil and these other countries, just absolutely phenomenal. And as we continue, Beyond those artists and that variety of news, the Latin urban artists are just honestly owning the circuit. We're seeing artists like Gencho Corleone, Ryan Castro, and Faruco stacking dates across multiple regions. For me, it's like we're seeing venues put an intentionality into supporting Latin American music, these Latin artists. And if you're a venue, you don't want to miss that wave. Um, Providing community for people out there is what this is all about, providing a safe space. A handful of new projects also dropped this week. These aren't artists that do anything crazy to go viral or that typically, go on the crazy podcast runs. IDK released ETDS, leaning into classically for him introspection and some tighter writing. Rock Marciano dropped 656. Minimalist, no compromise on his style there at all. Ari Lennox released Vacancy, soulful, emotionally grounded. I'd say just another classic. Currency stayed in the classic Currency pocket, which is one of my favorite artists. Everywhere you look. Um, Again, nothing huge from like, oh my God, it's Justin Bieber. Oh my gosh, Cardi B, da 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 da, whatever. Like, but these are bangers. Hip hop and R&B is definitely going through some more changes as well in its own way. I feel like the R&B singers are strong right now in the women's side particularly, and that like brought up the guys. And I think that's an interesting point. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are there. Um, we've had some pretty cool awards recently. Some really, really interesting things that have been going on in there. I encourage you guys to just always follow the award shows and support your artists. If you guys can vote and engage and tweet and comment and download albums and support on social media some way, I think just supporting music and creative right now is more important than ever because these artists and the structures and the systems, they're also going through a change. There's this weird balance going on right now of the old guard, the new guard, authenticity, what's bullshit, what's not, what the artists want. And these artists seem to be getting a little bit of control back on the whole grand scheme of their careers, and controlling a little bit more of that narrative is what it feels like. And so us as fans, if we can engage more, I think that'll be huge. One of the big trends that I want you guys to tap in with, our artists are booking longer runs in fewer places. It's instead of bouncing city to city. So it's like if you're gonna do a tour, be in that city and promote. Be in that city and engage. Be in that city and do a couple things. You know what I'm saying? Make it a point to build community versus they're only in here for one day and then they're gone. You know what I'm saying? And that's a trend that I really want to you guys to check out and consider as a music artist. I think it's definitely important to build your brand from a relationship standpoint versus such a transactional standpoint. Um, that's all I got for you guys for the music side of things, folks. This was another episode of the Morning Joint Podcast. I am your host, Joey J. Ping. Big shout out to Catalyst Consumption Lounge here in Hawthorne, California, for providing the hospitality and the space for me to do this. I really love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And we will be back again all week long with articles, more podcasts on the RMR Podcast Network, and next week on Monday with another Morning Joint.